If you're walking around Shanghai for the first time, one of the things you'll notice pretty quickly is this. Almost every residential area is gated. Walls, fences, gates, security guards, everywhere. To a lot of Westerners, that can feel a little bit confronting, and it raises questions. Why is everything enclosed? Is it about security, or is it about control? But to understand why Shanghai looks the way it does today, you actually have to go back a long way, because the idea of enclosed living isn't new here at all. China has a long tradition of walled communities. Old cities were walled, neighbourhoods were gated, homes were built around courtyards, facing inwards rather than out. Even Shanghai's old lane houses, places like the Shikamen, were essentially small villages inside the city. Gates were locked at night, everyone knew who belonged, and that was completely normal. The idea wasn't really about keeping people out, it was about creating order, knowing who was part of the community, protecting families' homes and the daily life. That way of thinking never really disappeared. It just adapted to a much bigger, denser city. In fact, there was a period around 2016 when there was an attempt to do the opposite, to open up residential compounds, reconnect street grids and improve traffic flow. On paper it sounded logical. In reality, the residents didn't want it, developers didn't want it, and the local governments quietly backed away from the idea. Because for the people who live here, gated communities aren't a problem to be solved. They're actually a feature. I lived in suburbia in Australia for 17 years, and there was no real sense of community, not like there is here. These communities make daily life more predictable in a city this dense. They help manage traffic, deliveries, parking, noise, all the practical things you don't really notice until things go wrong. So when you see a gated compound in Shanghai, it isn't a luxury statement. It isn't about fear. It's all about structure. Let's take a walk and I'll show you how these communities actually work and why for most residents it just feels normal. So this is the exit of my apartment. They're like in the hallway. I'm on the 9th floor. So it's probably about 12 apartments on this floor. There's a bit of a view out there towards the sort of northwest. Yeah, pretty typical. This building's about 20 years old. So a couple of lifts. Well, as you can see, this apartment building doesn't have much open area downstairs. It's not unusual. There's the Catholic church, which is actually underneath the building where I live. It's frequented, pretty busy place actually. And then there's communities like this one. It's facing the street. It does have security. It does have an entrance and it's all part of one complex. All of these apartments come directly out into the street. Nothing unusual. Some of them are businesses here. But, yeah, this is still part of one communal group. You see each door will go up. There's possibly 3 apartments, a 3-storey. Could be 4 apartments. Just depends. But they'll be quite small, these apartments. These are old. Very old. Concrete and brick construction on the outside, wooden on the inside. Often have a very, very steep staircase. But this would be the entrance to the main part of the commune. And the security, etc. is here. And right next door, little foot massage. Always busy. Now the other thing you might find quite common in some of these older apartments like this is sort of a shared situation where the apartment's actually just a room where you sleep. Downstairs there might be a common kitchen, common bathroom, shower, fact, some of these very old ones don't even have a shower and toilet. Or communal toilets and showers somewhere else in the area. I don't know if we can get through here, but we'll have a look. This structure here is particularly old. Very old. It's one of the originals. Anyway, it winds its way through. We might get through to Shanghai this way. It's a very narrow alleyway. Oh, look at some pigeons up here. Pretty cool.
Ross，侬来啦？哎，我来了，你来到了吧？来了3个。哦，你从我家来了？哎，缺1个。老太。哎，老太来了。老太来了，英语。Hello。
Hello.
Hello.
The pigeons up here.
啊。你是哪个国家的
I don't know. 听不懂。
听不懂。
Interesting.
阿美个是马来西亚还是英国、德国？
Oh, you import?
英国啊。
Ah. Very good. Yeah. Good many.
侬有啊？
这就是摘菜的呀 ，Hello。
Hello. Wow.
都有。这是阿登啊？
哎，
我以为是摘菜的嘞。
不是。
Yeah, the people are friendly. And you'll see the people out here, just in the community, in the little communes here. It's got some vegetables for sale. Pretty common. We've got a bit of fish here. Brisk trade for the morning. That's life in a compound. So in these little alleyways and apartment and lane house complexes, you'll find all sorts of little businesses. Like this little one up here, just a lone trader doing tattoo. Just a little studio inside their home. Pretty normal. Some place down there called Nadine's Scent. I don't know what that is. I was just going past the kindergarten. The kids are out in front here having a bit of a play. One of the teachers. The kindergartens here are very, very heavily guarded. And you'll see after school here there'll be a lot of police and security guards here, greeting the parents and grandparents as they come to pick up the children. It's very, very safe. There we are. Kindergarten's out for the day. All the aunties and uncles, grandparents are here, and the security guards there doing their thing. It's perfect. And this is just a typical local community. See the security at the front. It's typical, the gate. security guard area there. He doesn't do much really, just look after a bit of traffic and any little bits and pieces that people need within the communities. You can see it's a little lane coming off to the left and right. It's pretty standard. These ones are a bit larger, and this one's actually a bit newer than any of the lane houses I've lived in before. But this is very typical. So it runs from back here at Jululu and goes right through here to Yananlu. So this is another apartment complex, much larger one than where I live. So it consists of about 4 large buildings. It's actually got a really nice restaurant in here. It's a Mexican restaurant called Maya, and they actually have a public swimming pool. And quite often I'll go here in the summer when it's hot and spend an afternoon. So there we can see the entrance to the Maya restaurant, the Shanghai Grand Club. So we go through there to get to the pool. And the pool is situated just there behind the glass bricks. And up on the roof there, we've got a tennis court. So not a bad complex. A little older, but well looked after, well maintained, well managed. And then some of these buildings, like the 3, 4, 5, 6 floors, you might find a situation where on one floor all the laundries are in the hallway, or all the kitchens are in the hallway, and they might differ from floor to floor. Now we're coming up to an entrance to another lane house type of situation. This is really typical. There's security there. This little place here used to be the tailor, and I'd bring my clothes here to get adjusted. It's a packed up shop now. So look at the back of the restaurants here. Dozen little shops and boutiques. Quite interesting. Sort of getting a bit further in, and they have their area inside that little room there. They keep all their e-bikes for charging and stuff away from the complex. And this one was all the exterior was renovated a few years ago, and all the paving was redone, and sewer and stormwater was redone. And, this little shop here used to be a hairdresser where I used to come. 15 RMB haircut. Here it opens up into the main part of the complex. It's quite good. So this is fairly typical. One big central lane, and lanes coming off left and right. And you see that little flashing light up there on the building. It signifies there's a hairdresser here. But there, we'll take a little walk down here. This community here adjoins the community next door. And actually there's some friends living in this one next door. Quite nice apartments here. Now we're getting in between these two different complexes. And this is actually where I go and get my hair cut now. This little place just here on the left. A Shanghai guy with his wife. Little studios in the back there. Actually, I'm in need of a haircut soon. I'll take you there to meet him. And you'll see here, it's a fairly big complex, this one. Again, it's been renovated recently. All this concrete's new. It used to be all pavers and things, but all the sewer and everything was redone. And you can see it goes back there to Jululu. And again, we'll head out to Yananlu. Well, typically, you know, people living here will hang their clothing out in the middle of the lane, get a bit of sun. It's not a particularly nice day today or sunny day, so there's not too much washing out. But these apartments here, probably would range from about 25 to 35 square metres in general, which is pretty typical right across Shanghai. We'll just take a left here and come to the complex where I used to live. The guard station. Oh, new guard. Look out, there's a bike coming. We used to live right at the very far end. It's not a huge complex one. I guess there's about 600 people living here. So I moved out of here about a year ago. The back of our apartment was down there. The entrance is at the other end here, next to the bike stand. And our next door neighbour developed all that little garden there, which is rather nice. But we were down the end there on the left. And we had friends living next door. An American with his Russian wife lived up here. And across on this side, another German friend, he was up on the top floor there as well. They had access to the roof, which was rather good in the summertime. We could sit up there in the nice cool and have a drink and maybe a bite to eat. As we continue through on this side, there's access to the compound next door, which the main managers for both compounds are in this complex next door. And we can go through his little park, a little exercise park here, and recently renovated again. Looks really bloody good. Used to be a little bit dark. On this side here we have a kindergarten. And kids come here. This whole building here, it's about 6 floors, but the government's been installing lifts in all these buildings now. Because people are getting too old to walk up the stairs that far, so the government's done the right thing and put lifts in here. This little park has been done up very, very nice now. It used to be very dark in here, but this is much better than it used to be. This complex next door has a bit of history, and you can see here a lot of it's boarded up now. They're obviously going to renovate this old side here, the old Shickerman style. Maybe these ones weren't suet, I don't know. But this side of the complex, a couple of rows of apartments are all now vacated. This part's still going strong. Quite a nice building, this one. Probably over 120 years old. And, it's all kept in pretty good condition. Nice bit of greenery around. Again, that runs out to Nanjing West Road. Yes, it was just on this side, these two blocks run east-west, now fully vacated. We can talk about the restoration of some of these older places. Just here over the last 3 or 4 months they've completely redone this block here on both sides. Really nice. So we'll wander out one of the rear entrances. There's a guard station here. You can see the back of the restaurants which are out on the main street of Wahalu. It's pretty much how they operate out the back. You can see the guard station here. There's a lady looking after it this afternoon. This comes out into Shanghai. Nice little area here. This was renovated quite a few years ago. All these shops, it looks really good. And this little shop here has been busy for years. The local people come here at special time of the year. They'll queue up here for hours to get what they really want to have special. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is, and I'm not going to queue up to find out either, but it'll go right round the corner. I'm not going to go down there, but yeah, close to New Year, so that's what they're queuing up for, something special for New Year. Look, you can see across the other side of Wai Hai Lu here, more of these buildings, the shop fronts and apartments which are up for renewal. We're on Wai Hai Lu, approaching Malming Lu. We'll duck off here into another complex. This is Wai Hai Lu side of the area, and another friend of mine lives in this complex here, or actually the adjoining complex, which we'll walk through. A beautiful little building, must be more than 100 years old. And, some of the smaller lanes off to the left here. The refuse station's at the end here. And as we continue through, this is going to go through to Yan'an Lu. Quite nice with all these camphor laurels and creating a bit of greenery and a bit of shade for the summer. As you'll see here, pretty typical, most compounds have it. Some exercise machinery for the locals to use. Doesn't cost anything. And you'll find them out here in the afternoons generally, getting a little bit of exercise, which the government encourages. Well, now we've come through to the other side of that apartment complex. Someone's built a very nice garden here recently. I haven't been through for a while. But the government is encouraging to green up their areas, so maybe this is a result of that. These apartments are in quite good condition, and I know that my friend is not here at the moment. He's back in Scotland, but that's his apartment just there. It's a nice little lane, very quiet, quite cheap, and they've got about 40 square metres in there, and they're quite comfortable. So out to the front gate, same thing, a little guard station, and out into the main road. So here we're outside the Paragon. It's a more luxury type apartment building complex. It's more closely guarded. Strangers and foreigners aren't really encouraged to be able to walk through, which is typical of some of these bigger, newer, more modern places, but they are very nice. We might go around the back and have a look at the other way to get into this complex. Just see if they say anything. I'm going to wander through. It is rather nice. The rents here are crazy. One of the cleaners for the complex doing his job. So up here we have another entrance to the back of this apartment complex, and we have a guard station here. There's always a couple of guys there, and they'll help traffic come in and out of the apartment complex, because this is Malming Lu. It's quite busy, and they need a little bit of help. If we walk down here, we may be able to get into the back of the complex and have a look around. It looks like, oh, there's a guard there, so maybe not. We'll just walk down here anyway. Have a little look. It is a very lovely building. And you can see some of the apartments up here. And it is. So he's telling me no. So anyway, we'll leave this area. The guy didn't want us to go inside, so no problem at all. And that's what you get with some of the new apartment complexes. I'll just come out across here, and that gate across the road is the only way in and out of where I live. So we'll go back in here and wave out to the guard. He's there. Yeah. A lot of bikes here. They come through periodically and get rid of a lot of these older ones that have been laying around and not being used, to make room for some of the other people that need space. And you can see here the community notice board outside the lifts. Things are posted up here regularly, let the guys know what's going on. That was a bit of a walk around the local area where I live, and got to see some of the apartment areas where I've lived and where I do currently live. Pretty typical of Shanghai and Huangpu district and Jing'an district and many other districts. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.